Children enter school as eager learners, full of expectations of and excitement about learning. But children are also vulnerable, and many who grapple with reading soon become disappointed. Because reading is key to success in school, learners who struggle to read face a downward spiral of failure and decreasing motivation. Deep down, these poor readers doubt themselves and feel shame about their inability to read well. They see the failure as a reflection of something wrong with themselves. Through our own ignorance, we, parents, schools and society as a whole, also unintentionally contribute to perpetuating our children's feeling of shame. They blame themselves. They don't know that the confusion they experience is a consequence of factors beyond their control. The truth is, reading, like writing, is neither a simple nor straightforward skill to acquire. All the skills that we must have to survive, talking, walking, running, using our hands, are acquired naturally, but not writing and reading. Writing and reading are contrivances that we, as an intelligent species, devise for recording and retrieving information. Evolutionarily speaking, these are relatively new human skills, and the brain is not pre-organized for them. Why is reading especially difficult? We read only what is written. But we have to first realize that what we write is a code, a system of representing language symbolically, and that reading is the act of deciphering this code. This is a complex skill that requires multiple smaller skills to be brought into play at the same time. When reading, the reader has to understand what the rules of coding are and what representations are made, and disassemble the coded symbols in order to derive meaning. Reading is a high-level cognitive function. For a learner just starting to read, reading is an overwhelming task. We know from neuroscience that learning difficulties occur because of problems in the brain's connections, rather than a deficiency of the brain itself. When a child's brain is stimulated through motivation, encouragement, inspiration, or by simply learning, neural connections are formed between the brain cells. Now, here's the thing to remember. The brain operates on a use it or lose it principle. Only those connections and pathways that are frequently activated are retained. Other connections that are not consistently used will be pruned or discarded so that the active connections can become stronger. What all this points out to is this: reading needs to be taught correctly. One of the most fundamental flaws found in almost all programs that teach reading is that they teach the sequence backwards. That is, they go from teaching letters to teaching sounds, instead of from sounds to letters. The print-to-sound approach leaves gaps, invites confusion, and creates inefficiencies. As pointed out by neuroscientists and researchers of human cognition, the foundation of reading is speech, and the organization of reading skills in the brain must be built on this foundation. This translates to teaching sounds before letters. This is important because recent brain research suggests that we must set right any incorrect teaching methods used, since early instruction determines how the brain organizes itself for reading. What research has shown is that using systematic synthetic phonics is the best way for a child to learn to read. Let's be clear about this. It's not just any phonics program, but a phonics program that is based on the systematic synthetic approach. In systematic synthetic phonics, Learners first learn letter sounds and then build up to blending these sounds together to achieve full pronunciation of whole words.
Sh, I, p, ship.
Sh, I, p, ship.
K, sh, cash.
Sh, cash.
It is systematic because the sounds and the letters that represent them are taught in a specific sequence, as opposed to incidentally or on a when-needed basis. Using the findings of recent research, Unik has come up with a solution to address the problems faced by both teachers and learners in teaching reading and learning to read. This solution is Phonics Fun, which has been designed to take the drudgery out of learning to read and make the learning experience meaningful and enjoyable.
Come on everybody, we have words to make. We'll join some sounds, it's a piece of cake. Sh, shell. Sh, I, p, ship. W, I, sh, wish. Ch, o, p, chop.
First, lessons are constructed around established pedagogical principles to ensure that they have a solid footing. Concepts are taught with increasing complexity, proceeding from simple to difficult. Scaffolding is used as guided lessons to support learning. Culturally relevant and experience-appropriate repertoire is included for constructive learning. Teaching is learner-centered. Bloom's taxonomy is applied so that higher-level learning within the cognitive domain can be attained. That is, instead of merely acquiring knowledge, learners can strive for understanding, application, and analysis. Second, to ensure that the approach taken is correct, the program draws on the findings of neurological research. Reading is taught on the foundation of speech, and sounds are taught before letters. Opportunities for establishing neural connections are encouraged through practice exercises, repetitions, and other mental stimulations, as underscored by the use it or lose it principle. Songs and chants are used to excite the learner, as this promotes learning. Activities that involve memory storage and recall are included, and this helps move information from short-term to long-term memory. Third, the lessons are computer-based, so as to harness the advantages of technology. Lessons are interactive. This interests the child, stimulates his mind, and captures his attention. Information on demand features and feedback capability allow lateral and non-linear learning. Multimedia presentations make multisensory learning possible and address the child's different learning styles. Lessons are self-paced, allowing the child to dictate his learning rate. A virtual teacher teaches the lessons, thus freeing the actual class teacher to focus on activities that demand participation as the child learns on his own. The last but most important point is that the program follows the systematic synthetic phonics approach, the most effective method for teaching reading. Sound-letter relationships are taught first, followed by blending and segmenting techniques. Phonemes are introduced systematically, giving learners the ability to read simple words from the very first lesson. Methodical and orderly teaching allows gradual and stepwise acquisition of reading and spelling skills. Bottom-up approach enables learners to read unfamiliar words that follow phonics rules. Tricky words are taught as exceptions, allowing learners to quickly recognize high-frequency words by sight. Complete coverage of all 44 phonemes and their representations means that all the sounds used in the English language are learned. Structured exercises in listening and speaking build confidence, develop reading fluency, and help learners to overcome fear and eliminate feelings of shame. By the end of the Phonics Fun program, the child following it should be a successful reader. Acquiring this skill will give him a feeling of achievement. Being able to read, he will no longer have the threat of shame hovering over him. The door to his future is open. He is empowered.